welcome back to Queen of the Movies podcast. Oh man, I'm Ranika J. As you know, this week we're going to be talking about Euphoria. And I realized that I have yet to do a TV show, but I'm only 6 episodes in. This will be my 7th, but I was like, I think it's about time that, I get a TV show in there. So let's do it here. Like I said, I'm just gonna do like a recap of season 1 and season 2. I'm not going into depth. I'll wait for season 3, or maybe I'll, do another episode that goes into depth of both seasons. But that would take way too much. Like I said, let's just do a recap. If you haven't seen Euphoria, I highly suggest watching it. It is so good. Writing may not be always the best, but the performances definitely make up for it. I never thought I would like Euphoria, but my gracious. Zendaya, definitely, I never knew that she could act that well. I didn't know. And I only say that because I know she's from Shake It Up, Shake It Up, Shake It Off. One of them Disney shows with Bella Thorne, and then she's from Casey Undercover. So it's one of those like children, teenage, I don't know, shows that I didn't watch because I'm 30. So by the time it came out, it wasn't something I watched. But yeah, so I never knew. And then when she popped up in Spider-Man, I was like, oh look, it's Zendaya. That's awesome. And she was really good in it. But seeing Euphoria, you see a whole different side. And she's so good. Oh my goodness. Definitely well deserved Emmys. I knew she was gonna win. It wouldn't have made sense had she not won. I mean, all the other people that were in it are great, but she deserved that for sure. All right, so let's get into it. Euphoria is a TV show that follows a 17-year-old girl who's a drug addict, fresh out of rehab. Her name is Rue, which is played by Zendaya. And she has absolutely no plans to stay clean. At least that's what she says in season 1 or whatever. And then you meet Jules, who Rue meets, and just the entanglement of it all. And you meet Nate. Oh, sorry. Jules is played by Hunter Schafer, and Jules, like Hunter Schafer, is a transgender girl trying to just figure out who she is. Mind you, when you meet Jules, she is getting it on with Dr. Maxine, Cal. Is oh dang, what's her name? Maddie, love Maddie, played by Alexa. I don't know how to say her last name, so I'm not going to try because I don't want to butcher it. But he's confused. He don't know if he's like his daddy. I don't know. I think he's trying to figure out if he likes men as well. Which ain't nothing wrong with that. If you like men, you like men. It's fine. But he's fighting himself really, um, and he's very angry. He's ugh, he's awful. There's like no coming back from him. I hate him. And then you have Chris, played by the guy from New Edition Story, Alfie. Is that his name? Something like that. I can't say he's a main character. I mean, you see him in season one, and then he's cool, and he's also a jock. He's friends with Nate, and he ends up really liking Cassie, but he's like, oh, not trying to make it seem like they're together because he ain't trying to hear what his friends have to say. And I'm like, I guess because Cassie has a reputation, which, ugh. Because her dad and just daddy issues and just I don't really know why. Um, there was speculation that there was issues. Self-conscious about her body, which her body is banking. So, uh, I, but we all have our insecurities, I guess. So she starts making she. Huh, this is the only thing I didn't like about her. She was a habitual liar, and like she lied to make it seem like she had sex all the time, and everybody was like, I don't think so. And she didn't, and I don't understand. I know that's like a thing too. Like people try to shame, like mostly children try to shame their peers. Like you haven't had sex. Like oh my god, it's not a bad thing. First of all, okay, you don't have to have sex as a teenager, and if they're trying to make it seem like, well, you're not cool, okay, and maybe I don't want to just be giving my body to somebody that I probably won't be with in the next year. But I mean, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Don't let anybody peer pressure you. And I felt like she wanted attention, like Maddie, Kat and Maddie are best friends. Cassie and Maddie are best friends. Kat and Cassie are, uh, I can't even say they friends. I think that they are just acquaintances that have the same best friend. And it's very clear in the second season because Kat says it. But yeah, she just goes on a whole spiral. She starts having sex with people. She got filmed for the first when she did it. I think she was giving somebody oh, her first. That was her first ever thing, and it was recorded. Or no, she just full on had sex, and they recorded it, but you couldn't see her face, And so everybody at school was like, "Oh, that's you," and she's like, "Yeah, that ain't me." And he was like, "Mm-hmm," and she's like, "That's not me." And then she was like, y'all better take that video down, principal, or do you want a case on your hands?" Right. So then after that, she started getting on, like, I guess, porn sites and doing like dancing videos. It was crazy in a cat mask. Cat mask, and her name's anyway. Um, yeah, so that's all the important people. You meet Cal, like I said, Nate's father. Can't stand neither one of them. They both are terrible humans. Uh, on the show, on the show, terrible humans on the show. So everybody has their own storyline. It does intertwine at some point, but yeah, everybody was just oh. Sorry. You also meet Kat's sister. No, Cassie's sister, Lexi. Love her. Played by Maud Apatow, uh, the daughter of Judd Apatow and Leslie Mann. Fun fact. Also, you meet Fezco, aka Fez, played by Angus Cloud. Fez is definitely one of my favorite characters. I love Fez. He's dope. Um, Rue's sister is played by Storm Reed. She's awesome. You get to meet Rue's mother. Eventually, Rue has I think that's like early in the beginning of season 1. She has a sponsor who is, he doesn't force himself on her, which is nice. Like, he's not like, you need to do this, you need to do that. He's more like, listen, I've been through it. He's more like a father figure because her father died when she was a kid. So with Rue, she was in rehab because she overdosed, I think, a year prior and almost died, and her sister found her. The trauma that her sister went through during that moment, I can't even imagine. Gia. Her sister's name is Gia. I can't even imagine the trauma that her sister Gia went through, seeing her sister on the floor, overdosing, possibly about to die. I couldn't imagine it. I don't want to imagine it. And I think that Storm Reed is an amazing actress as well, um, especially when she's alongside Zendaya and all these people that are really great. You also meet Ashtray, played by Javon Walton. Boy, I tell you, if that little boy ain't no gangster, he said, "I'm with it, I'm about it, try again." Oh, there is a scene from season 2 that is my favorite, and it's with him, Cal, Faye, and Fez. And oh my God, that little boy is a savage. It's another part where boy, listen. Season 2 had me stressed, okay? There's a bunch of side characters. You meet Ethan, who is a love interest for Kat. But anyway, let's get into a recap of season 1. Aired in August 2019. Blah 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 blah. Doesn't really matter. So, like I said, you see Jewel. When you meet Jewel, she's in a nasty motel with Cal Jacobs, which you don't know who he is. But let's back up. Let's go to Rue. Rue is returning home in school after being in rehab, right? And immediately, what does she do? She goes to Fez at his little grocery store where he works. I'm pretty sure his grandma owns it. But yeah, so he runs a little grocery store, and Ash is in a little cut room or something like that. This is where, but she goes to buy drugs. And um and I'm just like, okay, girl. And he was like, didn't you just get out of rehab? She was like, and I never said I was gonna stay clean. Like, what is this? Give it to me or not. So she gets drugs, and then she has to act. She goes to Lexi's house because she gets drug tested, and her mom drug tests her like on a regular basis. So it's just like, girl, I don't know, but she has to go get Lexi's pee so she can pass the drug test. And then it's like Lexi helps her, and then Rue will turn around and be like, "We're not friends. Like, what are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Girl, didn't she just pee for you? Get out of here." Um, she meets Jules. Rue is like immediately in love with Jules, and I'm like, but the only problem I had with that, I mean, they are teenagers, and I guess that's the point, which Rue actually does bring up in season 2, in the like later part of season 2. Like, I don't know how you can be in love with someone when you don't even know what that is, especially when you're always high. Because the whole point of you getting high is the fact that you can't feel. You don't want, well, at least for her, excuse me. She doesn't want to feel those, at least the negative emotions. But it's a numbing thing for her, right? Um, but they instantly are friends, and it kind of is, it's like a line between friendship and romance. But in the beginning, Jules was morely like, oh, we're friends. I like this guy. I'm talking to this person. Um, so when she has, like, when she talks to her sponsor, his name is Ali, by the way, and she's telling him, about Jules, and how she's just like, who's like, Jules is like the greatest person, and I really like her. And Ali is like, listen, it's not gonna last. And he's saying that because of where Rue is mentally. He knows that she is not mentally capable of having a relationship with anyone. Like, she doesn't even love herself. How do you expect to love someone else? You can't, and you can't depend on someone else to for your sobriety. You can't depend on someone else to always make you happy, because you're always going to be disappointed at some point. I'm not saying you're going to go through life being disappointed. That's not what I'm saying. But that is her fear. And, Ali being honest makes her self-conscious, which, I mean, I think that was his, not, it wasn't his point to make her self-conscious. His point was to make her realize and see that, when, and not be disappointed for when it doesn't work, you were already prepared. I don't know. But I felt like he was right. And I love Ali and Rue's connection. I like Ali and Rue's conversations because, like I said, he is that father figure, whether she realizes it or not. He is that father figure for her, which is what she needs. Because after she lost her father, it really took a toll on her, and she really went downhill. And like, she had already tried a drug, but mind you, when Rue has been on drugs since she was a child, and all because she was looking at the lights and counting, and I don't understand why they would think something was wrong with her. That is what is making that's that helped her. It aided it. It was the beginning of her issue when it came to drugs, because she depended on drugs to stabilize her when there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with her. Just because she was counting the, who cares? Just because she's counting the lights, let's wait for her brain to develop before you just take her to a doctor for that. Like, I know um, there's kids that do, have those issues, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't take them to get checked out. I'm just saying they thought something was wrong because she was counting. And I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm not any of that. But I even watched like people reacting to Euphoria, and when they like, and I watched the Truth Doctor show with uh the Truth Doctor, Dr. Courtney Tracy. Love her, by the way. Um and she is a mental health like therapist or something like that. But yeah, she even was like, she didn't understand why they took her to the doctor. So I was just like, okay, well, so it's not just me. Like, I don't, just because she's counting, like, anyway. But she was on drugs then, and then when her dad was on his deathbed from cancer. He had cancer. She tried one of his oxys. So that also, because the one what she had wasn't it wasn't working anymore. It just wasn't working. And so she, just when it comes to that, she tried it at a young age, and then she liked how it felt. So then, after a while, it stops that feeling. So then you got to take more. You got to try something else. Um, but not only does she struggle from substance abuse, she also struggles with serious, serious, serious depression. She has really bad anxiety. Oh my goodness. Um, there was at one point, it was so bad that she wasn't using the bathroom and had a kidney infection. And she couldn't, she even was like explaining, she couldn't even get up to pee. And so she was holding it to the point that she got a kidney infection. And my goodness, it's crazy. But yeah, um, she does stop using eventually. Um, and it again, it's because of Jules. Like she doesn't do drugs for Jules. Like that, Jules is the reason. Like eventually, Jules and Rue, they don't really become a couple. They just are. They just are. I don't know, but um, yeah, you get to see Rue and Lexi mend their relationship. Rue, um, apologizes to Lexi, and she's like, I didn't mean it. You are my friend. You're my best friend. And I think their relationship is amazing, and I love Lexi. Um, but yeah, man, she goes through it that the first season, and it's not as bad as season 2. Oh my goodness, season 2, Rue goes through it. Okay, Rue goes through it, but yeah, she gets she gets to be friends with Lexi again. Lexi is the reason for a lot of, she ain't really the reason for a lot of things, but Lexi is there for Rue, and you'll see. Lexi's, I can't even. But so, like I said, she tries to be clean for Jules, and it's fine for a while, right? But you have to find something else to do it for. You have to do it for yourself. You can't do it for anybody else. You have to want to be clean for you. And that was Rue's downfall because she was so dependent on Jules. And Jules was doing her own, she was doing drugs. She was drinking and stuff. So it's not like Jules was really the best influence on Rue, right? But, um, yeah, because Jules has her own issues. And so with Nate, I really don't even want to talk about him because he's an awful person. And he is abusive at one point to Maddie. I mean, Nate and Maddie are toxic, right? But Maddie only knows that, and she's like, "Oh, Nate has my back," and that's why. And that's pretty much why she keeps staying with him. It doesn't matter that he is awful. It doesn't matter that I mean, Maddie. Maddie. She even calls his mother a cunt. Mind you, she was high at the time, but yeah, wild. Cassie has a whole orgasm on uh on the what's that thing called? The merry-go-round, and everybody's looking at her high because they got drugs from Ash. Child, that was the weirdest. Um, and then Nate grabs Maddie by the neck and leaves a mark and stuff. Man, uh, what else? Child, anyway, um, you find like I think Nate found like all these tapes that his dad made of him self sleeping with men and transgender females in that nasty, dirty hotel, motel. Um, yeah. Uh, Nate uh, pretty much blackmails um, Jules, and then Rue tries to get Nate to back off of Jules, and Nate is like, "Who are you talking to? Drug addict self, get out of my face." She's like, "You don't scare me. I have nothing to lose, so you can't do anything to me." He's like, what about Jules? I can do something to her. Yeah. And then so Rue is like, "Oh, Fez, I need you to scare him." And he's like, "You have lost your mind. I'm not getting into none of that." But he ends up doing it because Rue is like family to him. Um, I love their relationship too. And there does come a point where Fez has to get tell Rue, "You gotta go." Like, no. Because she crossed the line. Rue crossed a lot of lines. I'm not gonna front. There have been times where it's like people would probably wash their hands of her, but because she, everybody knows she's not a bad person. It's like, well, you know what? She's struggling. She's trying. Blah 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 blah. And I will say Zendaya's performance does make you care about her because she is a good person. You see it. There's moments, more, and it's a lot of moments. And I think that it cuts down all the bad that Rue does, right? And Rue like tries to burn bridges. She doesn't really try. I take that back. See, Maddie, Cassie, blah 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 blah. Cassie and Alfie's character, I forgot his name. They they have like a little moment, and then she does a thing on the on the horse ride, whatever it's called, carousel. There we go. And this other guy who's a skis like tries to hook up with her at a party, and she's like, no. And he's like, what? He was like, you're not interested for me to actually want to date you. He's like, you're just easy. I was like, dang. Yeah. And then he goes and sleeps with Kat. And Kat's like, you remember that time that we quote unquote dated when we were little? He's like, no, I don't. She's like, you remember me now. Kat was just on a whole empowerment thing, I guess, for herself. She was sleeping with a whole bunch of people. It doesn't really matter. And then this guy that liked her, he was like, oh, she saw him at the fair talking to someone, but it wasn't what she thought. It was from a distance. I'm like, why didn't you just go up and ask what they was talking about? Like, it's really not that deep. But then she goes and has sex with some random, and it's just like, oh, okay. And then at a party, he sees her like he's like, why are you doing this? She's like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I like you. What are you talking about? And then he goes down on her. I was like, whoa, uh, okay. They end up dating. It doesn't last though, but which is kind of unfortunate. I kind of like them too, but yeah, eventually, Kat wanted more excitement, and he just wasn't giving it to her. So instead of telling him the truth, she like is a coward and lies. And he is like, are you serious right now? You can't just break up with me. You have to make up some stupid lie. She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're a coward. And then she's left there, like, starting to cry. And I'm like, girl, I know you ain't crying when you just made up a whole lie saying that you had cancer. Like, that's wild to me. But yeah, oh yeah, Nate, like called the police and had feds raided. Luckily, he got rid of all the drugs that was there, but he knew it was Nate. And it was after like he kind of threatened Nate in the grocery store. But blah 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 blah. Moving on. In the end, though, Rue and Jules decide they're gonna run away. So they're about to get on a train. Jules gets on the train. Rue has a panic attack, and she's like, "I can't do it. I can't do it." And Jules is like, "Please come, please come. Like, come on." And Rue's like, I can't do it." And Jules leaves Rue standing there at the what is it called? The train station. Rue walks back home, and Rue relapses. Oh my God. The season finale, that scene, Rue's relapse, was so good. I have definitely went back and rewatched just that part. And it also was exciting because when you see it, it's just like the way they shot it was so good. Like it was just the creativity that he had with how she was with the song and then how she was moving. Cause at first I was like, what is going on? I said, did she relapse? And I was like, dang. Well, Ali was right. And that's what happened. But I was like, and then when the song came on, I was like, what? Is they about to turn this into a video? Then I was like, oh, is that Zendaya singing? Oh my goodness. I forgot that I didn't forget she could sing, but it I just didn't think about it because she ain't done music in a long time. So when I heard it and I was like, yo, that's Zendaya. She sounded good. And then that the whole ending scene was amazing. They had the choir, the band. Oh my God, so good, so good. Season 1's over. Season 2 now. Um, Nate still sucks. Cal still sucks. By the way, it's a lot of see it. There's like a shot where they're talking about Cal's life, where life, not his wife. Well, she's part of it, but you get a backstory on him. I don't really care, to be honest. Yeah, he likes men, which we knew, but the only reason he wasn't with the dude was because his wife, who was his girlfriend, got pregnant. Which I don't. Were they boyfriend and girlfriend? It doesn't matter. But there's like a scene where they're in a locker room and it's just penis, and I was like, that. Wow. Okay. But everybody's at a party because it's New Year's. Jules comes back into town. Um, you see Fez and Lexi. And I was like, well, this is not something that I even would have put together, but I love it. Oh my God, it was awesome. Flexi. I like it. And the way the season ended, it was just like, God, dog, man. Ugh, I wanted this to happen. Well, I don't know. I don't know how season 3 is going to start and whatnot, but anyway, it's a party. Nate not there yet. Also at the end of season 1, Cassie is pregnant, but she has an abortion. Her and old dude break up somewhere in between there. She's at a gas station, just sitting. Nate comes out. He pretty much preys on her. It's disgusting, and it pretty much solidifies how gross he is and how much I cannot stand him. He is a terrible person. Oh my God. Ugh. I guess that's a testament to how well Jacob Elordi plays him. But my God, I hate that. I hate Cal. I hate Cal. I hate Nate. They both suck balls. Literally. Anyway, um, she gets in the car with him or in his truck, and they go to the party. And she's like, "Oh, a hot mess." Okay, I'm just like, Cassie. She's a hot mess because she got the abortion and whatnot. And it's like, okay, you need a therapist. Clearly need a therapist. You need to talk to somebody about this. But yeah, they get to the party. Cassie and Nate have sex in the bathroom. Maddie's right outside the bathroom. And she's like, oh my God. And Nate is just like, shut up. She's like, it's my best friend. You ain't that good of friends for you to do that. And then you continue to do it. She continues to sleep with Nate, even though she knows him, Nate, and Maddie are like, they're not together, but they're just intertwined. Like they always talking. He, if you want to say loves Maddie, sure. If that's what you want to call it. They're infatuated with each other is all it is, really. It's infatuation. Okay. Um, but they continue to have a thing, and Maddie, is talking to Cassie about Nate, and she's, confiding in Cassie, and Cassie's just like, yeah, well, maybe y'all shouldn't. And then she gets mad at Nate, and she's like, y'all don't need to be together. And you would go back to her, blah, blah, blah. It's like, Cassie, you realize you are in the wrong, right? Like, it frustrated me so bad. Oh my God. And in season 2, I couldn't stand Cassie. I was just like, you are such a hypocrite. You are talking, oh my goodness, I can't even put it into words how crazy she sounded. This part where she's in his parents' house, in the house, and in his room, and he's brushing his teeth, and she's like, "You still talk to Maddie? I didn't think that you would be with her. Y'all don't need to be together." Blah 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 blah. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "Yeah, oh, Cassie's so sweet, Cassie, but what are you doing? You're having sex with your best friend's boyfriend. Y'all are not together." And I never would have done this if I thought y'all would go back. You would go back to her, bruh, Cassie. It's inevitable. Like it was always gonna happen, and you knew that. Oh, child, I can't with her. But anyway, party, blah 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 blah. Maddie doesn't find them. Cassie's hiding in the bathroom in the tub, and she almost gets seen, but they're like, "Oh well, let's just leave." They didn't see her face. It was a anyway. Fez beats the shit out of Nate, and oh my goodness, I was so happy. I was so happy. And Lexi just sitting on the couch like, what? Because it was like Fez is being so sweet, and we're having such a good conversation. All of a sudden, he casually just gets up and then starts beating the crap out of Fez. It's crazy. You also meet Dominic Fike. That's his name, right? Character. His name is Elliot. Him and Rue do drugs together. Okay. Rue and Jules end up getting together. Lexi is definitely more prominent in this season. Oh, and you also meet like a big drug dealer in this season too. Um. Oh, I didn't even mention how Ashtray killed a drug dealer in the first season. He's gangster. It's crazy. But yeah, big time drug dealer in this one. This lady that Rue ends up getting drugs from, saying that she gonna sell it, and she ends up taking the drugs. Rue. She ends up saying something to Ali that, where he's just like, well, okay, wow, low blow, Rue, low blow. And yeah, it comes a point where Rue is hitting rock bottom to where it's like a whole scene of her running. Like her mom and her sister were gonna take her to rehab, and she starts getting anxiety and hops out the car, and she is just running, like just running through. The cops are chasing her at one point. She gets away. She ends up at Lexi's house, and then everybody's there. Her mom shows up. Maddie's there. Cassie's there. Barbie's cat is there. My goodness, whole intervention. And as they're like, Rue, we're trying to help you. We want you to get better. We're here for you. Cassie's dumbass comes out and it's like, we'll help you. We'll just take it one day at a time. With this stupid smile on her face. And Rue looks at her and it's like, hey, Cassie. Rue's sweating and stuff. And then Cassie's like, yeah. He's like, how long have you been effing Nate Jacobs? And everybody's like, yo, the skill it takes to deflect on your own problems and a serious problem of um, addiction. Just deflect it and get it. And I read that's something that people, they try to deflect on other people so they don't have to deal with it. They're not the focus. So that way they can continue on with not so they can continue on doing drugs and the focus is on someone else so nobody's worried about her, right? So Cassie's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. The way you're acting is guilty enough. Cat over there like, oh no. It's amazing how everybody just straight believe Rue. And I guess that's because, I don't know if that's because of Cassie's reaction or just because they're like, well, Rue ain't gonna lie about it. Which, I'm trying to think. She has lied. So, but I guess it was just believable. And maybe they like, it makes sense for how Cassie was acting. I knew Lexi knew. Rue knew because she saw them. And Maddie's like, what is she talking about? She's like, I don't know. I have no idea. Girl, look at your face. And Maddie is like, what? How long have you known about this? And Cass and Ruth's like, I saw her get into Nate's truck and kiss him. She's like, when was this? Right after New Year's. She was like, you stupid bee. Oh my God, I feel violent. Yo, I wanted Maddie to just snatch Cassie so bad. Cassie ran off like a little girl. And then Rue ran away and nobody seen her. And Lexi and Cassie's mom is just like, what is going on? Can this wait? And they're like, no. But anyway, out the bag now. Maddie and Cassie are no longer friends. Lexi puts on a play. When I tell you that is a straight production, it is a production for the masses. Okay? Oh yeah, you see Faye, or her name's Cherry. No, her name's Faye. Rue and Faye meet, and then, Faye's boyfriend, or her name is Cherry, ain't it? Why don't I know this? Hold on. Oh no, her name is Faye. Her actual name is Chloe Cherry. Oh, okay. They meet in a car and she's doing heroin or something like that. And Rue's like, whoa. But anyway, Faye ends up staying with Fez and Ash because her boyfriend is she is being looked for because of something. I don't remember what it is. There's a point where Cal goes to Ash and Fez's and he's like outside and Ash is like, come on now. Like, we see you. So Ash rolls up on him with a shotgun. Get out the car. What you doing here? They take him in. He's like, I'll call the cops. Ashtray's like, he's a bitch. He ain't gonna do nothing. He's like, and he's hitting him with the butt of the gun. Yo, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And Fez is like, Ash, chill. And Ash is like, whatever. He ain't gonna call the cops. He said, here, take my phone. Call him. He said, call him. And he said, dial, bitch. And he hits him again. To the point that Cal is like, Fez is like, okay, chill out. And Cal is like, please. He was like, okay. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like all disillusional and stuff like that. Or disillusioned? I don't know. He's not. He's tired from getting hit in the head with a gun. And Fez is like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I just want the tape. He's like, what are you talking about? The tape of me and Rue's friend. He was like, who, Jules? He's like, hold on. You had sex with Jules? He's like, I want the tape. He was like, you taped it? He's like, I didn't know. He's like, You didn't know you was taping? You didn't know you was recording? And Fez is like, who told you I cared about this? He's like, my son. He's like, your son who's in love with Jewel? And Callan's like, what? And Fez is like, what? He was like, what is this? He was like, I don't care about this. I don't care about you. Like, why are you here? He's like, I'm confused. He was like, you're confused. I'm confused. And Faye is Faye. She's special. I did grow to like Faye though. But anyway, blah, 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 blah. Faye's boyfriend ends up trying to help the police to take down Fez and Ash, and then tells Faye about it. And Faye is conflicted, like, do I help my boyfriend or do I help Fez? Because Fez has been very nice and he's let me stay here. I wish she would have decided this sooner, before Ash decided to kill Faye's boyfriend, and he was wearing a wire. And Fez, see, it all happened at the same time. Fez is getting ready to go to Lexi's play. Masterpiece, by the way. And he comes, Faye's boyfriend comes, and it's like, oh, da 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 da. And Fez is like, what are you talking about? Like, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Ash is just like, you acting weird, bro. And then the boyfriend says something. Faye drops something. And then she bends down, picks it up. Fez is looking at her like, what is wrong with you? And she's like, shh, don't say nothing. She just puts her finger to her lips. And he's like, oh, okay. But then, of course, it's not in time because Ash is like, you acting shiesty. You acting shady. I don't know what's going on. And he just slices his neck. I was like, yo. And Fez is like, no. And then he covers his mouth so he can't hear because he had a wire. And they're like, oh no. So the cops is outside and they're banging and banging. And Ash is like, yo, guns. Fez is like, no, they're going to come in. I'm going to take the rap for him. You're going to be okay. And Ash is like, no, you're not leaving me. And this is where it went just real sad. And it was like, come on. Ash hits Fez, goes and gets guns, goes into the bathroom. Cops come in, get Faye. Fez is trying to tell Ashley to come out the bathroom. The cops come in. He's like, don't shoot. He was like, there's a kid in the bathroom. Don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. Ash fires the first shot. He's like, boop, 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 boop. Fez gets shots. He dropped. He's like, ah. He's like, Ash. He was like, no, don't shoot. Stop. Ash. And it was just like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, it's just shot. And then it stops. And then you see Ash on the floor. One of the little SWAT team comes up to check. He gets shot. And then you just see, Ash shoots the cop. And then you just see a red dot go to Ash's head. And then it cuts to Fez. And then you hear the shot and you hear a body drop. And then you just see Fez crying. All while the play is still going on. Lexi is like, where's Fez? He's not here. Girl, he getting raided. Yo, Boo is getting raided. Rue is doing so well. After another intervention where all the drugs was tossed and she went ballistic. Oh my God, that scene was so hard to watch. It brought me to tears. Zendaya did amazing. It was at that point where I said Zendaya's getting another Emmy. It's no doubt about it in my mind. And she got one. Well deserved. To the point she did so well that her friends contacted her to make sure she was okay after she filmed the scene. Oh my goodness. And I could understand. It was so well performed, so well crafted, masterpiece. But that happens. Rue is like, Jules, you suck the life out of people. You don't love anybody. You love to be loved. You don't love me. You left me at my lowest. You're not my friend. Mind you, Jules and and Elliot slept together. I don't know if Rue actually knows that. I feel like she figured it out, but I don't know. She slapped Elliot. Elliot was like, I should have minded my business. I shouldn't have told you. Because Elliot told Jules. Jules told her mom. They flushed the drugs. Rue was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I need the drugs. She doesn't tell anybody what she did, but anyway. After all of that, she starts getting clean. There's a scene where she's trying to open a Jolly Rancher. She can't do it. Then snot comes down. I was like, oh my God, you're going to wipe your snot. She wiped it. And I said, oh my God, you're not going to wash your hands. She still can't open it. She calls Ali. She says, I'm so sorry. And Ali is like, I forgive you. She's like, really? And I was like, oh my God. And I cried because it was beautiful. And then she opened the Jolly Rancher and put it in her mouth. And I was like, the symbolism is amazing. So simple, but so effective. Like I said, she's been doing good, been clean. There is a moment with her and her mom, and I'm just like, my heart is breaking for both of them because her mom said to her, I've realized that I can't stop you. You know, I can't fight for you anymore. You have to fight for yourself. So if you want to do drugs, do them. I'm not going to stop you. And she was like, the effect that it's having on your sister. She was like, you're very selfish. And, you're not thinking about how it affects Gia and the trauma that you've put her through. And she was like, Gia's fine. She was like, oh, really? She was like, she's failing most of her classes and she's skipping school. But if you say she's fine, then you must be right. And she was like, I didn't know that. She was like, yeah, of course you didn't. Because you only think about yourself. I was like, wow. And then she told Rue, she said, listen, if I have to choose between you and Gia, I'm going to choose Gia. And that right there broke my heart because I was like, wow. They're sitting together, eating ice cream, watching something. Probably one of the best moments that they've had together. And then she feels the need to let her daughter know that she is tired and she's not going to continue to do it. She has to get better for herself. No one else can fight for her. She has to fight to live for herself. And she's like, I'm not going to let you take both of my kids. Like, if it comes down between you and her, I'm going to choose her. And I understood what she meant, but it was still a heartbreaking moment because I would never want to hear that from my mom. So, yeah, but I also felt like it was necessary so she could hear it. But like she said, Rue can only want to get better for Rue and nobody else. She has to want to be a better person for herself. And like she had been sober, she had been doing well, staying away from people that are bad influence. So she's been hanging with Lexi a lot more. Lexi been putting on a show. Like I said, that production of a play was, and it just shows you how Lexi is an observer. You definitely saw who Lexi was more than in the second season, and I loved it. Like, I love Lexi, and I wanted more. I want more of her in season 3. So yeah. Some people liked the show, some people didn't, and that was mostly Cassie and Nate. Nate didn't like one particular scene, and he left, and then he was like, yo, that was so homophobic and offensive and blah 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 blah. And he was like, how could she do that? And I was like, wow. Interesting. I didn't know how to take it because I was like, well, are you advocating or is it because it was you in the scene that she was portraying that way and you didn't like, I don't know. But um, he broke up with Cassie. So Cassie gets all mad and she storms the stage. And then Maddie gets on stage and just goes in on her, slaps the stuff. She runs away and I was like, how you gonna run? Girl, what you running from? I thought you was crazy too. Thought you was big and bad. Why you running, Cassie? Get out of here. But anyway, later on though, you see you see Cassie's face, and then you see Maddie. Her face is fine. She just got a little scratch on her foot, which probably just came from she probably got stepped on or something. And Cassie's like, he broke up with me before I even got on stage. And Maddie was like, trust me, it's just the beginning. And then leaves. So I'm just like, I hope Cassie is like, was it worth it? You lose your best friend because you wanted to continue to sleep with Nate. And the way you justify is that they were broken up. But if you justifying it, then why are you avoiding Maddie? Why don't you want to talk to her then? Why can't you know? If you feel like you did nothing wrong, then why are you avoiding her? Why not talk to her? But yeah, in the end, Rue does go to Elliot and is like, I feel like she probably should have apologized for slapping him, but anyway, she says, I forgive you, which he did need to apologize for. I don't know if they just had an understanding that Jules and Elliot slept together. I don't know. But she was like, I forgive you. She was like, I got a lot of stuff to work out. And he was like, you think we could ever be friends? She was like, she let him down very nicely. She was like, do you think that's a good idea? Because look what happened when they were friends. Not the best. And then he had a song, and it was nice and lovely. And Rue and Lexi are best friends. And Rue was so proud of Lexi for the play. And, she was super supportive of Lexi, which I loved. Got just seeing the dynamic of their friendship was beautiful. Um, Jules comes to Rue at the end of the play while everybody's leaving, sits next to Rue, and Rue's just like, I'm uncomfortable. And Jules is like, I forgot what she said. I didn't really care, to be honest. But Rue gets up, kisses her on the cheek, and leaves. I mean, not on the cheek, on the forehead. Kisses her on the forehead and leaves. And Rue, in the what's it called, voiceover, you hear Rue saying that she stayed clean the rest of the year, and I was like, oh, there's hope. I see. So what I need for season 3 is a clean Rue. Like there can be the hardships, because it's not like you could just get over it like that. I mean, I'm not. I've never done drugs, so I don't know nothing about it. But just from what I see, and seeing people, it's like it's not easy. You can't just go cold turkey. But I just want season 3 to not be Rue is back on drugs. Like we have 2 seasons of Rue on drugs, and I want her to not be on drugs. I want to see a clean, healthy Rue living her life one day at a time. Hard times where she wants it and she chooses not to. There may be, I really don't want to relapse again. I don't want to see another relapse. I want to see her thriving. I want to see her happy. And I want to see her being a teenager. I want to see her talking about going to college and all of that stuff. So, I don't know. I don't want another relapse. Because it's just going to be too depressing. I feel like she's hit rock bottom already, and I don't want another rock bottom. But we'll see. We'll see. Could care less about Cal, who's in jail. I could care less about Nate, who's not, and he belongs in jail. He put a whole gun to Maddie's head this season, and I'm 100% done with him. 100% done with him. 100% done with Cassie. I could care less about them three people. But I don't know. I don't know if Cassie has a way to come back. I can't stand her. But yeah, apparently also Fez was the one that was supposed to be killed, and not Ash, and so they changed it. I don't know. I definitely don't want Fez to die, so I'm happy they didn't kill him. But I'm wondering what's gonna happen in season 3 with Fez, because I was so happy with Fez and Lexi, but then that happened, so I'm like, dang. So yeah, season 3, I'm excited for. Unfortunately, I have to wait a whole another year, but it's fine. Like I said, maybe I'll have another episode or two that goes more in depth in both seasons. We'll see. Next week, it will either be Scream 2 or The Faculty. I'm not really sure. I gotta figure out scheduling, because I'll have a special guest for both of those. So just gotta, like I said, figure out scheduling, because we're all pretty busy. But thank you for joining me. I know it was a little long. I'm sorry. Euphoria is a lot, and even though not going into depth, it still was a lot to say. But yeah, thank you again for joining me this week. I'll catch you next week. This is Queen of the Movies podcast. Have a good one.